What's going on, everyone? We now have, thanks to YouTuber Turkey Tom, a much deeper look into Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin, including Discord messages that prove that the two were both very left-wing, inviting each other and their friends to the No Kings anti-Trump rally. This, of course, is horrible news for Jimmy Kimmel, who has continued to say that they were both, in fact, Trump supporters. We also find out through an interview with a close friend that Lance Twigs was taking bathroom hormones to transition, black market hormones, was schizophrenic or manic, was a hoarder. We have some drawings from him to support that, and a whole slew of new evidence that supports kind of what we've already seen, including one of their close friends confirming that he did, in fact, that Lance Twigs did, in fact, call, they did call each other my love. Remember when everyone in those text messages were like, who calls somebody my love? Well, they confirmed that that was real and the messages were real, and that Tyler Robinson himself called into multiple Discords the day of the assassination, taking credit for it. This is blowing out of the water just about every wild conspiracy theory. Of course, we still have questions about an exit wound and 30-06 and the bullet retrieval, which, okay, but this is a huge blow to the people use space lasers and tunnels and, you know, palm pistols and all this kind of stuff, because now we have a third party coming and basically corroborating the evidence that we've all seen. This was sent to me, by the way, in our members Discord. So this day on Saturday, doing an extra video. This is my personal channel, so if you haven't yet subscribed to it, but please do support us by going to thequartering.com/join and joining my members chat room. You could send me topics directly and get weekend videos done. We can laugh and hang out. We have a Halloween contest. My dog's barking. We have a Thanksgiving contest. Shh, puppy. I'm going to zap you. Come here. Good boy. Thank you. I'm not actually going to zap him. That's a joke about Hassan. Anyway, we have we're going to do a Secret Santa on Christmas, all sorts of fun stuff. Come hang out with me and support the show. Now, this is a long video from Turkey Tom. I highly recommend if you're very interested. It's an hour long. It's worth watching. But some of the most important parts were about Lance Twigs and messages from Lance Twigs. And I, for one, still believe that Lance Twigs was, in fact, involved in this assassination. I believe he is in witness protection in order to testify against Tyler Robinson. But I think he had a part in planning it. I don't think he was really as surprised as they think. But let's check out a few of the bombshells from this. This is from a friend of theirs who used to go to weekly Magic the Gathering tournaments at their house, or Magic the Gathering
get his hands on that kind of thing, despite being completely out of Molly, but I'm not sure. Also, alcoholic levels.
Well,
again, this matches the picture of Tyler that one can derive from all of the testimonies regarding what kind of person he was. So after about 5 years or so of being friends with Lance, he decides to move in with him. But at this point, there's no sign that the two are engaged in a romantic relationship. Their peer continues. I felt super bad when he first moved in with Lance because it was normal for like 2 weeks, and then Lance went nuts, and the entire downstairs just became his nest. He'd be doing experiments in the kitchen, which were mostly just growing mold in Tupperware mugs, and the kettle with random Temu trinkets and rocks submerged in them. Every once in a while, I'd try to have a talk with Lance and try to get him to realize he needed help without making him go ballistic. Now, this is actually bizarre. One of the things I didn't pay...
It's very interesting to me that this guy had a temper, right? Throughout this video, the friend recounts multiple times where that Lance went ballistic on, people in the house for being too loud or talking about trans athletes. It's also revealed that basically neither of these guys were political until Lance Twigs decided that they were trans one day.
aside, the messages continue. I'm not going to say it was all just him being insane. His mom is super Mormon and also kind of crazy, so there's that. And all of the drugs. Weed, LSD, shrooms, DMT, and I think he said Molly, but I'm not sure. Also, alcoholic levels of alcohol. Lance has always been a little weird and quirky, but never really crazy. He was constantly arguing with his mom every time he saw her, and then ranting about Republicans and Mormons when he got home. I sometimes talk with...
Wait. Anti-Republican? I was told reliably by Jimmy Kimmel that this guy was MAGA.
Him for like 4 hours of him just ranting about his mom and family. He really hates Mormons. Also, at the time, politically, Lance and I would both probably describe ourselves as libertarian, and Tyler was very apolitical. On his Reddit account, there is one relatively old post about Lance having substance abuse problems, and you could assume that due to him no longer posting about it, he no longer struggled with it. Apparently, it was the opposite, as over time, it only got worse. And it's really the mention here of DMT that stands out to me.
So, yeah, he does DMT, okay. He's just on all sorts of drugs, right?
Particularly political.
The fact that they were apolitical too. Tyler wouldn't get political until after Trump was elected. He'd sometimes just casually bring up the latest thing Trump had done and complain about what it would do to the country, but in a very level-headed way. That's fine. You can not be a Trump fan. But again, I was reliably told that by Jimmy Kimmel that he was MAGA, which he clearly was not.
Until
this third-party interviewer and the subsequent Discord messages we're going to talk about later in this video completely blow basically every conspiracy theory out of the water. Like I said, there are still some questions, but to me, this all very clearly points the finger at Tyler Robinson and perhaps Lance Twigs, his boyfriend.
After the election.
Who's currently nowhere to be found.
He'd sometimes just casually bring up the latest thing Trump had, often assume others look upon them negatively, no matter how asinine the reason may be. Clearly, Lance's mental state was deteriorating, and whether intentionally or not, one case of a person in their early rare magic cards around to try and get his attention. And afterwards, he went upstairs, at which point everyone started hearing loud thumping. Apparently, Lance had gone into a temper tantrum so intense that he was literally thrashing around on the floor, which hopefully was just a tantrum and not some kind of seizure, because at this point, Lance is really a prime candidate for that to happen. Their peer continues. After that, Lance went mental. I'd get to Lance and Tyler's place, and he'd be super wide-eyed with either a loopy grin or a rictus grin like the Joker, depending on his mood. The nest came back full force, and Lance started living downstairs full-time again. This is a picture of a kind of cleaned...
Look at this. Now, this... I mean, you can see they have the playmats from Magic the Gathering, so this all kind of, plays together. But now there are pictures of some of his writings.
Apprenticeship program, not Lance. In the background, we can see what looks to be some kind of aquarium, or over is this one, which I'm actually a specialist in literally nothing. So this is just going to be me trying to interpret these to the best of my abilities. And the screenshots I'll be looking at will be made available in the description for those of you who want to take a look for yourself and see if you can extract some sense out of the madness of Lance's post-it notes. The first one we'll go over is this one, which contains a set of spiral-like scribbles that may be disconnected attempts at making the Glock logo. Given these
you can find all these at a paste bin as well. So let's go here.
Squared spiral G and the word lock near it. Right above this, there's also what looks to be the small phrase E equals T, and elsewhere on the note, I can also make out the words regent and temp, although I have no idea if this is alluding to anything in particular. On the right side of the image, another post-it has the sentence inside of it, and nearby phrases like go to the store and small box go listen to act. A lot of this stuff reads like Lance is just writing his mundane thoughts or whatever he's seeing on his phone in the most cryptic and insane way possible, but some of it does stand out to me as potentially meaningful or at least consistent.
Again, this video is an hour long, definitely worth checking out Turkey Tom's channel, even though apparently he hates me. I don't know. I guess that's the thing. I don't know. He blocked me on X. I've never talked to him, I don't think, and I've only ever said kind things about him, but that's neither here nor there. He's done excellent work on this video. You can see, all these drawings, and they look just like the Tranifesto, right? they have
orchid denialism. If you don't know, orchid is actually the medical term for balls. So with the context here being him mentioning hormones and of course identifying as trans in the few months prior to Tyler's attack, orchid denialism could be a reference to him outright not acknowledging or recognizing his balls. I can't make any other conclusion besides that one, but as I said earlier, all of the images will be available for you to peruse. And although a lot of it is just random babble, I am hoping that by someone else other than I taking a look at this, there can be some information extracted from these images. The anonymous peer continues. These scribbles
Now, I don't even know if the FBI has these.
Look bad, but it's even worse when you saw his face when he was doodling it, combined with the giggling and how vigorously he would scribble. It was very scary. And the way he spoke was weird. It was a bunch of words, but none of them made sense together, or sometimes it'd be in rhyme, or...
So his boyfriend was literally crazy. He said, I was told I was possessed by a demon, and then within 30 minutes kicked out of the house because I started laughing, and I wouldn't go see the bishop for a blessing. Later found out they just didn't like me and were looking away to get me out of the house. It sounds like you're crazy, bro.
Made me feel bad because, not gonna lie, I was starting to become really apathetic and not really care about what happened. Like, it was just so much energy to try and deal with Lance. Tyler was a real trooper for dealing with him. Lance even calmed down enough for us to hold like 3 more magic nights. We all thought Lance would be okay because he had Tyler, who was basically his handler at this point, to take care of him. Eventually, my friend who lived across the street from their apartment let me know that Lance had gotten into an argument with his grandpa, who owned the apartment, and his grandpa had taken his car away. This I'm not sure about, but I suspect it put him into another one of these spirals. I imagine Lance was just alone with Tyler heavily. And literally the next day, he was in...
This is after talking to another friend, apparently right after he did the shooting, he joined a bunch of different Discords. This is the big bombshell here. This is the big bombshell here. Hold on.
Tyler even joined a call 2 weeks before the assassination and acted completely normal. All of this is really interesting to me because while we did have an inkling that neither Tyler nor Lance were in their right mind by the time the attack took place, it seems like the situation was that Tyler was being subjected to an incessant barrage of genuinely psychotic ramblings from a paranoid and deranged Lance, who had recently become significantly more political. As is customary for people with these kinds of delusions, they start fixating on prominent people, imagining they have some specific relationship to that person, usually that they're being stalked or otherwise directly.
Right, and this was probably Charlie Kirk, and Tyler was like, I'll save you, I'll get rid of him for you.
Antagonized by them. This is probably when the name of Charlie Kirk entered the mix.
I agree.
And while it was probably just one among many delusions Lance would probably forget about by the time his episode ended, it seems it seeped into Tyler's mind as the cause of Lance's problems. Obviously, there's the political context of it, with Lance being trans and Charlie being conservative and criticizing the trans community. But judging from the leaked messages between Lance and Tyler, it does seem Lance himself is taken aback and shocked that Tyler did what he did. If I were to guess, Tyler took some of the things Lance must have said while in a state of delusion to heart, while Lance had already forgotten about them a while later. Their peer concludes his messages by saying, after talking to another friend...
Now listen to this.
Apparently, right after he did the shooting, he joined a bunch of Discord calls asking if anyone had seen the news while breathing heavily. And literally the next day, he was in call, just chatting with people while playing his puzzle games. And also, for the record, Tyler 100% calls Lance my love when they are talking alone.
Boom. That was one of the biggest points of contention. Oh, these text messages are weird because who calls people my love? Well, now we know for a fact that Tyler Robinson did call Lance Twigs my love. Those text messages appear to corroborate that. Now, the Discord messages, I went through them, and I think it's incredible that he got them, but there's really nothing worthwhile in here. There's some things, well, there's one big thing at the end here. There's some things about, being a furry, denying being a furry, but they were watching some sort of furry anime. Again, I don't really know. It's, again, just normal. What it tells you is that Tyler did have a YouTube channel at one point when he was young. And They can't find it anymore. And the Tyler was relatively normal and would go on fishing trips and things like that. I think that he just got groomed into being a killer. That's what I truly believe. And that's where all the evidence points. And he had some sort of deranged hero thing where he's going to save his boyfriend by taking out Charlie Kirk. And really, these Discord messages prove that they were never really political until one of the last messages ever sent here.
In servers and started one of his own, the Femboy server, as he put it. Right around the time they started dating, Tyler became increasingly inactive, even less expressive than he was initially. Most of the information from this time period comes from Lance, who notified the group chat when he was going on a date with Tyler or watching TV shows with him. Speaking of TV shows, it's quite possible that the show they were watching was Beastars, the big furry anime show, because Lance discussed it in the server on a few occasions. Now, from late 2024 to early 2025, some of Lance's messages further corroborate the claims made by his and Tyler's anonymous peer. First off, he says that he's been chronically sleeping from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., and that it's been wreaking havoc on his life. Then, we have a ton of messages in his own server where he's talking to ChatGPT, although I'm sure this is only a fraction of the full extent of his communications with it.
Yeah, he was also obsessed with ChatGPT.
Lastly, we have Lance inviting everyone in his server to a...
This is on June 13th this year. June 13th this year, inviting everybody going to go to the No Kings protest. Again, I was reliably told by Jimmy Kimmel that he was not political, but it certainly seems to me that both individuals were wildly anti-Trump, that his boyfriend was going through a never-ending run of mental breakdowns, and Tyler Robinson probably thought he was being a hero by, quote unquote, saving his life. Remember when everyone said, oh, Tyler never says vehicle, and then the video came out of him saying vehicle. I think it's all starting to come together now. Great job, Turkey Tom. And thank you, everybody. Don't forget, head on over to thequartering.com/join, especially if you made it to the end here. Get in the members Discord. You don't have to download Discord. You can just open it up in a web app and you can talk to me directly. I'm getting back to direct messages today, of which I think I have nearly 50 of them to get back to. Get back to people. And then we've got Halloween stuff going on. We've got Thanksgiving stuff going on. We've got Christmas stuff going on. It's a great community and it supports the channel. I hope you're informed by this. If you were, please leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.